everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our topic determiners. Now, this is part 4. Till part 3, we have already done in our earlier session. So, let's begin the session. In this session, we will discuss definite articles, uses of definite articles, and their rules. So, in our earlier sessions, we discussed what are determiners and we also discussed various types of determiners. Now in this session, as we know that articles are the parts of determiners, so in this session we are going to continue those articles. It means here one more chapter will be covered, that is articles. So in this session we are going to cover definite articles. Well, maybe possible not all the uses of definite article will be covered in this session, but we'll try to cover as much as we can. So let's begin the session. First of all, if we talk about definite articles, then what are definite articles? Now, definite article is only one, that is the. And the is used before every that particular thing that is actually particular or specific. Now, whenever we have a noun, we know very well that a noun is qualified with determiner, or a noun is qualified by a determiner. And if we talk about article, that is also the same thing. So article is also qualifying the noun. That means this article is determiner only, or you can say this article is a part of determiner. So this article is qualifying noun. To use this article the, we should have a noun over there. Now we know well that a noun can be countable or uncountable. But here, it does not matter at all. It should be a noun, that's it. Whether definite or indefinite, well, it will be decided by definite article the. Because if any noun is particular or it is used in particular sense or it is specific, so we use the before it. Now, the usage of definite article the in relation to geographical names. Now, whenever we have geographical features or whenever we have geographical identities, we use the before them. But it is not like that we always use the before all the geographical terms, but there are some geographical terms before which we can use the. Now, let us see what are these. First of all, if we have the names of continents, nations, cities, lakes, and mountains, we do not use the before them. We do not use the before them. For example, if there is a name of a country, that is India. So India or Bharat, this is a proper noun. We cannot use the before it because it is only one, it is single, and it is unique, of course. So we cannot use the before it. Most continents, individual countries, cities, singular lakes, and singular mountains. Now, what is the meaning of singular? That we'll discuss later on. Don't take the before it. We cannot use the before them. For example, if we have Asia, we cannot use the Asia. That is incorrect. Asia is the largest continent. That is enough. We cannot use the Asia. For Europe, we cannot use the. For Africa, we cannot use the. Now, we know well that there are 7 continents and we cannot use the with any. For nations, now if there are nations, for example, France, Canada, Brazil, we cannot use the before it. If we have the names of any country, we cannot use the before it. We cannot write the India. That will be incorrect. It is India and India is the best. Yes, I'm using the before the word best because that is a superlative degree of adjective. We can use the before a superlative degree of adjective, but that we'll discuss later on. With cities, now if there is a name of city, for example, the city in which we live in, obviously the city, that is the name, that is a proper name, and before a proper noun we cannot use the, of course. So before the name of any noun we cannot use the. So Tokyo, Sydney, Mumbai, Noida, Delhi, we cannot use the. We cannot use the Delhi or we cannot use the Noida. That will be incorrect. Now, if there are lakes, what happens if the word before the name of the lake, we have the word lake itself? If we have the name, the lake itself over there. For example, it is written over here, Lake Michigan or Michigan, Lake Superior. We cannot use the. I cannot say the Lake Superior or the Lake Michigan. No, that is incorrect. Instead, we can use Lake Michigan or Lake Superior. But if lake is because this lake is capitalized, but if this is not over there, we are using just the name of the lake, so we can use the before it. For example, the Superior Lake. You can see over here when referring to a system or group of lakes, example, the Great Lakes. So we can use the before that. Now, it comes to our mind that where we can use the. Suppose there is a word, name of the sea, the name of river comes, we can use the before it. So, for example, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, the river, the Ganga, the Jamuna, the Brahmaputra, the Yamuna, the Gomti. So we can use the before the names of the river, before the names of the canal, before the names of the bays. Now, where we can use them? Before the names of sea, river, before the names of canals, before the names of plateau, or well, the gulfs. Suppose the Gulf of Kutch, before the we can use the before them. Also, deserts, for example, the Thar Desert, the Sahara Desert. So we can use the before these words. Or bays, for example, the Bay of Hudson, the Bay of Bengal. So we can use the before these geographical terms. Now, for mountains, we cannot use the before that particular range, or if we are talking about ranges of mountains. Sorry, if we are talking about peaks of mountains, not ranges. That means if we are talking about peaks of mountains, before which we use the word mount, we cannot use the. For example, I cannot write the Mount Everest. It is Mount Everest. Mount Kilimanjaro. But I cannot say the Mount Everest. That is incorrect. But if I talk about mountain ranges, the Himalayas, the Rockies, the Alps, mountain ranges which comprise multiple mountains, to use the. For example, the Himalayas, the Rockies, the Alps, and in case of lakes, I have already told you. For deserts, the Sahara Desert, the Mojave, rivers, the Nile, the Mississippi, the Ganga. So with rivers, with the names of the rivers, we can use the. Now let us move further. With oceans and seas, we can use the. For example, the Pacific Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, we can use the. For bays, the Bay of Bengal, for example, the Bay of Bengal. So I can use the over here. For straits, I can use the, for example, the Park Strait. So for island groups, for example, the Maldives, the Bahamas. Now you must have heard Netherlands. You must have heard Andaman and Nicobar. And you must have heard, we can use the Netherlands. If you have heard a place that is Mississippi, the Philippines. Philippines is the name of the group of islands. So we can use the before that as well, the Philippines. That is why we use the Netherlands, because Netherlands is actually the group of several islands. Also the West Indies. So West Indies is actually, it is not a country, but it is actually the group of islands. So we can use the West Indies. So if there are group of islands, we have to use the before them. Though it can happen that if only one island is there and it is not the group of islands, we sometimes avoid the before it. But if it is an island, it should be preceded by the, of course. Now, countries with republic, state, union, united. Now, if there is any country before which we have a word that is republic or Soviet, or we have a prefix that is state, union, or united. So we use the before it. For example, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, the Union Republic. Some countries, especially those whose names indicate a type of union or political structure, or those that are plural in form, take the before their names. How? For example, the United Kingdom. So here we have a word united. Because of this, we have the United Kingdom. The United States of America, the Republic of Ireland. So here, because of this word republic, we are using the. For example, you must have heard the USSR. Now, the USSR is actually the previous name of Russia. So we are using the before it because this U is this U stands um, for any of these words. Now let us move to the next one. The People's Republic of China, the United Arab Emirates, that is UAE, the Czech Republic. Now, one more thing is there. If we have any short name or acronym of these words, we can use the before that as well. Now, the use of definite article the with newspapers and magazines. Now, whenever we have any name of any newspaper or the name of any magazine, we can use the before it. How? Let us take some examples. Suppose it is a common convention to use the before the names of newspapers. The Times of India. Now, Times of India is a very popular newspaper in India. So, we are using the before it. The Hindu. Now, Hindu is again a newspaper, a name of a newspaper, which is actually an English newspaper. So, we are using the before it. Now, one thing is there which can arise in our mind. What is that? If the newspaper is Dainik Jagran, though that is a Hindi newspaper, can we use the before it? Now, because Dainik Jagran is Hindi newspaper, of course, it will not be written over there, that is the Dainik Jagran. But if I use Dainik Jagran in a sentence, suppose I say, I like to read the Dainik Jagran. The Dainik Jagran. Now, here this Dainik Jagran is Hindi newspaper. Of course, it will not be written on the physical newspaper, that is the Dainik Jagran, because that is a Hindi newspaper. But if it is Dainik Jagran and I'm talking about the name of that particular newspaper and I want to read it, I like to read it, I love to read it, of course, I'll use the before this name because this is the name of the newspaper. So, this sentence is absolutely correct. That is, I like to read the Dainik Jagran. The Washington Post, the Guardian, the New York Times. So, whenever we have any such name, whether that is an English newspaper or a Hindi newspaper, if I use that particular name of the newspaper in my sentence, I will use the before it. Now, let us move to the next one. For the magazines, again, the same thing applies. Magazines, on the other hand, often do not take the before their names. Time, Vogue, National Geographic, Forbes. So whenever we have magazines, we do not use the, but sometimes we use the before them. But basically, we do not use the. For example, if India Today, we cannot use the before it. Now let us move to the next one. The use of definite article the with body parts. Now this part is very, very important. If we talk about body parts, now body parts is actually the parts that we have in our body, like we have hands, we have legs, we have head, we have hair, we have eyes, nose, and many parts are there, of course, in everyone's body. Now what happens, there are several rules whether we can use the before the names of the body parts or not. We do not use the before body parts if they are used in general sense. For example, if I'm talking about eyes, what the eyes does, what do the eyes do? Eyes are the windows to the soul. So here we are talking about eyes. This is general. We are basically defining these eyes, or we are talking about eyes. We cannot use the before it. I cannot say the eyes. No, eyes. If I say stomach is the most important part of the body. Most important part of the body. Of course, I will not use the before it. Part of the body. Suppose this is the sentence. Or heart is the most important part of the body. Now, I cannot use any article before it. the sentence is absolutely correct as it is. We cannot use the or any article before it. But for example, there is one more sentence: lips can express a wide range of emotions through smiles and frowns. So here we are talking about its lips. These are body parts. We cannot use the before it. Hands can create beautiful works of art. So we are talking about hands. We cannot use the before it. Feet carry us on long journeys. So again, because we are talking about the functionality of these particular body parts, we cannot use the before them. Or if we are talking about these body parts, we cannot use the before them. Ears help us hear the sounds of nature. Of course, we will not use the before them. Now, possessive adjectives with body parts. We can use possessive adjectives before body parts. Now, possessive adjectives are also the determiners. So, we are saying that we cannot use the before the body parts. But if we are talking about determiners, yes, of course, they can be used, because if they are in possessive case, if they are possessive adjectives, we can use them. For example, if I say my eyes or her eyes, so I'm defining her eyes. For example, if I say her eyes are beautiful, so I'm talking about eyes, and I'm saying that I'm talking about her eyes only. So her, that is a possessive adjective. It can be used before the body parts. Now, in many contexts, use of possessive adjectives with body parts rather than the definite article the. This usage indicates to whom the body part belongs to. Sorry, whom these body parts belong. Now, he brushed his teeth. So teeth are a body part or noun, and we are using his, that is possessive adjective. She washed her hands. Again, hands, body part, that is noun, and her is possessive adjective. I hurt my foot. Again, foot is a noun before which I'm using my, that is adjective, that is possessive adjective. Now, using the with body parts and prepositions. So, how we can use the before body parts? Is there any case? Yes, of course. Now, let us see. When a body part is preceded by a preposition in a way that emphasizes the action rather than position, the is commonly used. Now, what does this mean? Suppose there is a preposition before the body part. And here we are talking about, we are emphasizing the action of that particular body part. So we can use the before it. How? Let us see some examples. He took her by the hand. So we are using preposition. Now with between the body part and this preposition, we can use the. He was hit on the head. So on the head, it means we are talking about that he got hit on his head. So we are not talking about his, but we are talking on the head. It means we are talking about his head only. Now here I need not write his head, because obviously if I'm saying on the head, it means I'm talking about his head only. Now the doctor looked into the patient's eyes. So I can use the before that if the preposition has been used in between. Sorry, if the preposition has been used, we can use the in between. Now, till now, we have discussed the use of the before body parts. Generally, we do not use, but if we show the possessive case, we can use. If we are using the preposition, we can use the. And if we are making any body part particular, we can use article before it. For example, a heart shaped. Now I'm not talking about heart, I'm talking about a heart shaped box. So here basically heart, though it is a body part, but here heart is behaving like an adjective. For example, if I say a heart shaped box, so I'm talking about that particular box. Box is a noun and heart shaped is an adjective. That is not a noun over there, that is not a body part over there. So I'm not talking about heart over there. In fact, I'm talking about that particular shape, which is in the shape of the heart. So in that case, I can use an article before it. Now, when radio, cinema, and theater refer to the general idea or institution of these forms of entertainment or the medium itself, rather than a specific place or instance, the definite article the is often used. Now, when we have some words like radio, cinema, and theater. If these refer to the general idea or institution of these forms of entertainment or medium itself rather than a specific place or instance, the definite article the is often used. Now, how? Let us see some examples. For example, there is a word radio. Now, let us see the sentence. I listen to the radio every morning. Now, I'm not talking about a radio. I'm not listening radio. I'm listening uh, whatever comes through this medium. Now, radio is behaving like a medium over there. Suppose a show is going on and I can listen to that particular show through radio, because radio is that medium of communication, or medium of, you can say, medium of that particular entertainment. So that is only the resource. There I can use the. So, referring to the medium of radio in general, not a specific radio device. I'm not talking about radio. I'm not talking about that particular device. I'm using the functionality of it. I'm using the function of that particular radio. I'm using that particular radio as the means of that entertainment. So that is only the resource. I'm using that as the resource. So I can use the before it. But if I say the news on the radio, now here it is written, the news on the radio said it would rain today. So again, I'm getting the information. I'm getting the information about the rain through radio. I'm not talking about that radio device. So I can use the before it, because in these sentences, I am only using the function of the radio, not the device radio. Same for the cinema. I love going to the cinema on weekends. Now, here, cinema refers to the movie that I see in the cinema theater, referring to the idea of watching films in a movie theater, not a specific cinema. Now, of course, if there is XYZ cinema and I'm going there, obviously I will go there to see some movie. Suppose the movie is of a particular actor, an actor that is, suppose the movie name is A. This is the name of the movie, and I'm going to watch this movie. Now, if I say that I'm going to the cinema today, it means I'm not going to see the cinema XYZ. I'm going to see this movie A in that particular cinema. Now, the cinema has always been a source of inspiration. Again, your cinema refers to a particular movie or a particular play that is going on in that cinema. Now, again, theater. She's passionate about the theater and has countless plays, referring to the word of theoretical performances in general. The theater offers a unique way of storytelling. So, this is how we can use the word theater over there. Now, whenever we have musical instrument, we always use the before the musical instruments. And one more thing is there, we can use the before the musical instrument. But if we are talking about musical instrument that is any, we should not use the. Instead, we can use indefinite articles as well. For example, if I say that I have a piano, so I'm just showing the position that I have a position that is a piano, so I can say a piano. Now, let us see. The action of playing musical instrument, if the action of playing is occurring over there in a general sense, we typically use the definite article the before the name of the instrument. Playing an instrument. Now, playing that instrument should be shown over there. She plays the piano beautifully. So we are talking about piano, which is the name of the musical instrument, and I'm using the before it. He learned to play the guitar. Again, the guitar. So guitar is used to show the play. And when he was young, I have always wanted to play the violin. So here, before the names of these musical instruments, I have used the. But exceptions are there. If we show the ownership, purchase, or a specific instrument, we may drop the. For example, I have a piano in my living room. So I'm talking about a piano, that is any piano, that I have this particular thing at my home. So I'm using this not for the playing purpose. Though I play piano sometimes, but I play the piano. But here I'm just showing the ownership that the piano is mine, or I have a piano. So there I can use a before it. and we need not write the before this piano because this is not a particular piano, it is any piano that I have. She bought a new guitar yesterday. Now again, because this is noun and before we noun we are using an adjective before which we should use a, which is indefinite article. Whenever we have a structure of adverb plus adjective plus noun, we always use an article uh, before this part of a speech for sure. Now, if sorry, this is article. Now, what happens? This noun is mandatory over here. If we drop this adverb, then it is fine. If we drop this adjective as well, it is fine. It means if we are not using these adverbs in adjective, that is also fine. But the noun should be there to use this article. Do you have a violin? I can borrow. So here as well we can use a because I'm just showing the specific instrument, or I'm showing the possession or ownership of that particular instrument. Now, other context, when referring to the instrument as an object without the context of playing it, you might not use the. There is a dent in my trumpet. So, my trumpet is an instrument before which I'm using a determiner, which is possessive adjective. My guitar needs new strings. So, this guitar, though it is used in general sense, but we are using possessive case before that. So, there is no need to write the just because we are specifying that particular musical instrument with the possessive adjectives. Now let us move to the next one. Before time. Now, whenever we use the word last, next, or coming, these are different. If these are followed by week, day, month, or any duration of time, we use the before them. We do not use the before them. For example, if we have word last or previous before any day, month, hour, or week, or year, or any duration of time, if it is last, we do not use the. But if it is previous, we can use the. The can be used. Now, I saw him last week. This is correct. I cannot say I saw him the last week. She visited Paris the previous year. This is correct because this is previous. Before previous, we can use the. They had a meeting the previous day. That is also correct. For next, we cannot use the before it. For example, I will see you next month. That is correct. I cannot say I'll see you the next month. That will be incorrect. They are launching the product next year. Correct. We have an appointment next year or next week. We cannot use the before these words. Now, coming. With coming, we can use the. In fact, we should use the. I'm planning a trip for the coming summer. So, the coming summer, we are using the before it. There is a festival in the coming weekend. So, we can use the before it. Now, when countable nouns are used as a whole, now this one is very, very important. What happens? If there is a noun which is countable, but it is not using for that particular noun which we have stated. Instead, it is showing the whole community of that particular thing. It is not just stuck to that particular word which is stated over there. In fact, it is giving us information about the entire you can say entire species of that particular thing. So in that case, we cannot use the. For example, for a man, if I say man is mortal, now every living being who has taken birth has to die one day. That is fine. It means every living being is mortal. If I'm saying man is mortal, it means I'm not talking only about those people who are male. I'm not talking about male community only. I'm talking about every living being. Here, man does not refer to man only, does not refer to boy or the man or the male person only. No. In fact, here man is showing the living beings or the living organisms. So every living being has to die one day. That is mortal. So here I'm using man as the whole. So I cannot use the before it. Man has always fascinated by the stars. Again, I'm not talking about only one man. In fact, I'm talking about all the human beings. That is why I cannot use the before these two words, because they are showing the whole, not only the man. Now, if I'm saying man, here this man includes all the living beings, whether they are women, whether they are girls, whether they are boys, whether they are living organisms or another thing. Now, if I say man has always fascinated by the stars, it means I'm not talking only about men. I'm talking about man. I'm not talking about a particular man. In fact, I'm talking about men, women, all the uh, all the people. So, if I say fish lives in water, that does not mean that I'm talking about only a single fish. I'm talking about all the animals, all the aquatic animals that lives in uh, water, because there are various animals. Those are not fish. For example, if I talk about blue whale, of course, blue whale is not a fish. It is a mammal. Therefore, we cannot, and that also lives in water. But I cannot say the fish lives in water. That is incorrect, because there I'm using fish for all the animals that lives in water, that are aquatic animals. Now let us move. If we have a word woman, again, woman has faced many challenges throughout history. Now here we are not talking about a single woman. In fact, I'm talking about all the women. Therefore, we cannot use the before it. However, it is more common to use humans or people when referring to species as a whole. For example, humans have always sought knowledge. People are inherently social beings. When referring to specific groups of men or and women in other contexts, the article the might be used. For example, the men in the village gathered for a meeting. It means I'm talking about all the men in the village. The women of the community played a significant role in its development. Now, I'm talking about every woman in the community. So, these are the rules in which are stated, in which we can use the or we cannot use the. Well, this is not enough. In fact, we have to study a lot about this definite article the. How is it used and where it has to be used, where it has not to be used, that we'll discuss in the next part. Thank you very much.